Hello again, Marco Severino here from Flow Design Architects with another video to discuss some basic topics regarding understanding architectural drawings 1. So if you haven't followed up to our previous videos, please do so. So we can get a sense that people are appreciating what we're doing here at Flow Design. In the previous video, if you haven't followed up, we discussed several different topics. We discussed symbols and sheets, plans, elevations, sections, and in this video, we're gonna focus on the topic of details. And how important details are in a set of construction documents and architectural drawings. So once again, if you haven't followed us on Instagram, YouTube, please do so. Look at the link below so we can get a sense that people are liking what we're doing here. So once again, in this video, we're gonna discuss the importance of details. So when we think about details in architectural terminology, we're talking about specifications. We're talking about how materials get together, how they connect. In the previous videos, we discussed plans, floor plans. In floor plan drawings, typically you place like the doors, the windows. You can see how the rooms are put together in plan. With elevations, you can see how the building is put together, what is the relationship between the window, the window sill, like the relationship with the ground and that kind of thing. In sections, you can kind of deeper within the architectural plans and understand like the floor assembly, if it is a 2x10, what kind of wall assembly you're trying to build with this building, potentially 2x6, the kind of exterior sheathing you're putting on the building and that kind of thing. But details go a little bit even more in depth. And the importance of understanding where to find these details is very important for you as an owner and a contractor, because then you can understand, okay, I can understand how the room is put together in plan. I could see in elevation what the relationship of that window is, but how is that window really connecting with the, with the window trim, and like what kind of detail and specifications do you want with that connection? So very important. So architectural projects are made in the details. So if you really focus on how these materials are put together, it's gonna make a huge impact when you are building this project. So very, very important that you understand that. So dipping into the idea of details, right now we are showing a wall section that indicates, it does have the detail conditions here. But for example, let's say we discussed in the previous video, if you have two types of siding, this connection here, how would you describe to a contractor and to an owner, hey, I think this is the best way to do this connection between here. And the way that you will describe that is by enlarging that section and create a detail that specifies this material connection. So for example, if I want to create an enlarged detail here, I'm creating a call out of that connection, and that connection is gonna be detail 2 on 320, for example. This is just an example. And when you go to that sheet, then you are able to understand, like, okay, if I enlarge this connection, you have your wall assembly, you have your sheathing, let's say this is insulation, right? Then let's say you have a vapor barrier or water barrier there, and then you have your siding like this. This is your just an enlarged type of siding there. But then in this transition here, you have a flashing detail there, right? And you don't want the water to be able to travel through these joints within, because as you know, they put the siding with nails, and every time that they do those nails, like there is potential for water penetration to go that within your wall cavity. So you want to make sure that, this transition, if you have this type of siding, you kind of put a flashing there. And maybe some people I have seen use a PVC trim right underneath, that is attached to, to your sheathing. And then you have underneath there, your different type of siding, either if it is a vertical siding or that kind of thing. So with this detail, you are able to understand the relationship, in this condition, in this change of siding between a vertical siding and just a horizontal vinyl siding. So very, very important. So if we enlarge this, we can say that this is your PVC trim, PVC trim. Then this is your flashing, flashing detail there, very important. Then you have your siding. At this point, we're just going to call it siding 1 because it's one type of siding. And then this is a vertical siding, vertical siding there. Vertical siding or siding 2. And in this detail, you can kind of see, okay, Marcos, now I understand how you are trying to put this connection together, and the contractor can understand it, you as an owner can understand it, and you can find it within the architectural plan. So very, very important that you understand the concept of details and the relationship of materials and how you're going to put this material together. So that's just an example, changing in terms of two types of siding. But what about if you have, let's say, a stone veneer? What about if you have a stone veneer there? This detail will be very different. So let's just draw it quickly here. Let's say you have your wall cavity, with your sheathing. Let's say you have water vapor barrier there, and then you have your typical siding there, but instead of having a vertical siding, you have a stone veneer. So instead of having this detail here like that, you might be able to have I don't know, maybe a piece of brick, let's say like that. This is the symbol for a brick. And sometimes some masons like to put a trim that is made of stone. You've seen them all the time in commercial spaces and some residential. Sometimes they like to put a piece of stone that kind of overhangs that, that moment there. But then you have your flashing detail right here. And then, you have that cap there made of stone, but then you have your veneer brick, attached there. And you can kind of see, how different this detail is compared to this one. So this is the importance of like, okay, hey architect or hey designer, how are you planning to deal with this transition between, these two different materials? Like, how does that detail look like? And then in the architectural drawings, we can specify like, okay, we could either do two types of siding. In the schematic phase, you can show the client like, hey, I'm thinking this detail might work in your condition. You know what? I really don't like the two type of sidings. Could we do like siding, and stone. And then in the architectural details, you can show that relationship and how that is put together. So once again, this is just the basic understanding of architectural details and the terminology and where you can find it within a set of plans, just to give the public and our clients kind of a bigger understanding on where you can find certain things and the importance of understanding the architectural plan. So once again, thank you so much for listening. We want to make sure that we are doing this and it has a purpose of teaching the new generation of designers. And any questions that you guys have, please make sure to leave it in the comments below so we understand and we know that we are doing the right thing here. So once again, thank you so much for listening. Flow Design Architects. In the next video, we're gonna just be discussing other topics that protrude to the public and in general in terms of I'm thinking about potentially doing videos, how to communicate with contractors, now that you have the details and like the understanding of floor plans. Hey, contractor, how can we tweak certain things around in terms of investments or like little topics that will help our community kind of be smart and strategic about design. So once again, thank you so much for listening. Into the next one.
Bienvenidos a Flow Design Architects, una compañía que trabaja para ti y por ti. Gracias por sintonizar.